Put your hands together. Welcome Livia and Cat Flanigan.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hello. Hi. Okay, guys, we're super excited to share with you. So what we've been doing so far is pretty much renovating our virtual offices. We've been in the weeds. We're in Follow Up Boss. We're going through it. Now we're going to talk to you guys a little bit about how to apply this. In action, what is it that we do? How do we use all these incredible tools and tech and turn it into, for our session, listings, sellers? So I'm going to kind of go over the what it is, what the tools are, why we use them, but there is no one better than Kat's team at implementing it and turning it into listings. So we're going to try to tag team. But we also wanted to say, if there are questions in real time, raise your hand. We have runners. We want to make sure we cover them because there's a lot of info and we don't want anything to get lost.
Yeah, don't be shy. Please ask questions. And I think we've made it pretty easy for you guys to follow along. So Livia, if you want to take it away.
Sure will. So we're going to talk a little bit about the process here. Now, when we're looking at a listing, there's several stages we're going to go through. And we're starting with agent mindset and future seller expectations, because the tools that we have provided to us will change the game from go. Then we're going to talk about the listing appointment. Once you have the listing, how do we market it? What do we do to really stand out? Once it's sold, what should we do? And then post-sale, how do we keep these people raving fans and have them coming back?
So for our team, there's been it's been a labor of mostly love over the last year, where we've really had to kind of figure out how are we going to learn the tools ourselves, and then how are we going to make sure our agents understand them and make sure that they're able to also explain that to the potential sellers that they're meeting with. So we came up with what's called our digital marketing presentation. And really, this is kind of a generic outlook on what it is that it means to work with the Robert Slack team. So who are we? Why are we number one in our market? Why are you going to want to work with us? What are the tools that we're going to bring? How are we different? How do we do business differently? So I'm going to open up our marketing presentation here. Just a second.
And this is huge, you guys. She's sharing what they actually use in the field. And at the end, we're going to have QR codes as well, so you can link to this. We want you to take this, apply it, and turn it into listings.
All right, so we pretty much kick it off with an intro of how our brokerage got their start. And no matter how brand new you are, how big or small you are, this is something that you can do yourself. We have a little intro video of our founder and our broker. And then that goes into what makes us special. What are our numbers? What are some things that we can brag about? So there's some pop-outs here that the consumer can look at to see what is it that we're doing as a whole. So it would show them our company numbers, what we're doing on a local level, because our brokerage actually covers an entire state. So we break it off into individual team areas, and then what our projections are for the year. Then we go into talking about how we dare to do business differently. We try to take the fear out of selling. We understand that this might not always be an exciting time for you. This is very scary. And we're going to offer you options. You don't have to just take the first person that comes to the door. You don't have to take the first price. And we're going to step you through that process. Then we go into our technology, how it is that we run and manage our team, and the technology that we use. So we talk about Ylopo, we talk about Follow Up Boss, big names in the business. They're going to know Realtor.com. They're going to know Zillow.
And Kat, I just want to interject too. If you don't know what she's using to create this virtual flip book, she uses Flipping Book. I use flippingbook.com, but there are other resources available as well. But flippingbook.com creates a seamless book. You hear the pages turning.
Yeah. And it's great on mobile as well, because a lot of the consumers are going to be looking at it on their phone, and it knows if it's on mobile device, it knows if it's on an iPad or a desktop. So it's really great. And again, we're just giving examples of what the tools look like. So this is not specific to the consumer. This is what we call our ticket into the living room. So this is going to get a potential seller interested in who is this Robert Slack and why do I need them on my side. So we talk about the listing rocket. We're going to go into more detail about all these tools too. I just want you guys to see what we're putting in the book. Talk about the heat map. So we're going to back up what we say. Like, we have a database full of buyers and we can start marketing to them before your home even hits the market. We know who's looking for a home like yours. And this is interactive as well. So the consumer can go on, they can open up the example heat map that we include, and they can play around with it and kind of figure out, what is this? They're going to have a lot of questions about it too. We get into the pricing pyramid. The biggest takeaway on this really is what does not count as a price for your home is what you want to get, or what you paid for your home, what your neighbor says your home is worth. We talk about the importance of pricing it right. And then we end with our affiliates. We have a funding, a lender that we work with, title that we work with. This second page here is all of our social medias, and it's interactive again. So if they click on any of these links, it's going to take them to our Instagram. It's going to take them to our Facebook, Twitter, everywhere that we have social media. And the last page is going to be all about the agent. Who it is that you're going to be meeting with, what's so great about them, something personal about them if they want to share. So this is our flipping book. This is our digital marketing presentation.
And I have to say, I love ticket into the living room. So if you want to remember anything, if you're a solo agent, if you're coming home to a team of agents, use that phrase, ticket into the living room. It's going to motivate you to present it to people and get it in front of people.
And a lot of our agents actually started including the link in their email signature. So it's in all of your email communications. They can click on it and learn more about it. It really gets their mind going, gets them asking more questions. So that digital marketing presentation was a big win for us when we started using it. It's a teaser.
Okay, so pre-listing. So we all know we want the listing. So let's talk a little bit about the tools and what we have at your disposal, at your fingertips right now, and how to use them. Okay, so the heat map and the seller report. I think most of you have already played with this. If you haven't, it's branded site /tools, and you're going to have, not branded site, your branded site /tools, and you're going to have access to this, the heat map. Now, I like to break it down two ways. One is the agent mindset. So what should we be thinking of as agents? This is a realistic overview. This is preparing you mentally. You're going to be looking at speed of sale. It's a nudge to present this to other potential buyers in your database. For sellers, it's going to make you stand out. And I'm just going to quickly branch out. This was not part of our presentation, but I have to tell you guys. So this week, we had a former client reached out to me and said, my neighbor wants to sell the home. So I reached out to this neighbor, and the neighbor said, I just want to be very clear. I'm giving the listing to so-and-so. And she's a great agent. She monopolizes that village. I'm on Cape Cod, so it's all villages. And she said, but I do want to meet with you to be courteous to my neighbor. And I'm thinking, oh, well, here we go. I've got it in the bag, though. I know I can do this. So we drove there, my husband and I. We brought, we sent her all of these reports. We pull up to the house. We walk in, and she says, I'm going to show you the house. You might have a future buyer. But I just want to let you know I am going to give it to Jory. And I said, I understand. She's fabulous. I love Jory. So then I went into the meat of it. We ended up leaving. A handyman stopped by. We went to the past client's house. We hung out there for about 15 minutes. I came back to the house and I said, I know you have a big decision in front of you. You have to decide if it's me or Jory. She's amazing. I'm amazing. Who are you going to pick? And she said, well, I have to be honest. I called her while you were at Ed's house. You've got the listing. No one has tools like this. So use this. This differentiates you from everyone else. Now, what do I say when I'm presenting this heat map? I say, I'm very happy to let you know that I've partnered with the top real estate firm in the nation, and we've scrubbed our database to see exactly how many buyers we have locally looking for homes just like yours. And I'm very excited to show you where they're looking and how many we have. And you send that over to them. It's game changing. You are working with the top real estate marketing firm in the nation, and you have scrubbed your database to show them exactly how many buyers that you have in your database looking for exactly what their home is and where they're looking.
How many buyers did Doreen show?
She didn't show any.
I think it's really hard to walk into a listing presentation. I mean, there's one thing about having confidence, but it's definitely your listing to lose. You can't walk into it open-handed or empty-handed. If you don't bring anything else with you, you've got to bring the heat map, because I guarantee you nobody else is going to show them that they actually have buyers right now that they can market to. Your heat map could say you have 2 people. That's 2 more people more than what any of your competition is going to walk in and tell them. So one thing I think Gabe or Barry or probably both have said many times is when you're meeting with a seller and you know that you're probably maybe not the first or the last person they're going to be interviewing, make sure you tell them, hey, ask, the other people that you're interviewing how they're going to bring the buyers to you and can they show it to you.
Have they scrubbed their database?
So Livia was talking about the tools. I just want to make sure you guys know where to go. We're going to see this a couple times on your branded site.
So it's your branded site /tools. And what we're talking about is the one that's heat map.
Right here.
And tomorrow, Sarah's going to really get into how to do this, get back into that virtual office. We're showing you an overview of what we use and why we use it. Okay, so also pre-listing, and you probably all, if you've heard me in office hours, you know I am absolutely obsessed with this branded market trends. Thank you, Gabe, for bringing this to all of us. This is incredibly valuable. If you're not using it, use this. Now, there's multiple uses for this, but for sellers, potential sellers, it's amazing. Again, you are setting realistic expectations. Now, what you're showing them is it's hugely important in how we present and market your home that we understand what the current market is. What is the environment we're dealing with? I'm very pleased to present to you an up-to-the-minute snapshot of what the temperature in the current market is. This link is evergreen, so feel free to bookmark it. You are showing them now. I'm obsessed with the Market Action Index. If you haven't used that in the branded site, branded market trends, that actually gives them a temperature gauge that shows them, is this a buyer's market or a seller's market? People are not providing that to buyers and sellers, and it's hugely important. So this is one of my favorite tools that I send over. I do send this over in our intro email before Ticket Into the Living Room. I am going to steal your listing press though. Ticket Into the Living Room, it's amazing.
And Matt actually has a really awesome video out. This is how I kind of learned more about the market trends feature. Don't be discouraged if you don't have a listing appointment, if you don't have any sellers in front of you that you're going to be meeting with. He had a great idea. Go on there. If you specialize in one particular area, create a market trends evergreen video for that particular area and just send it out to the people in your database. Create the video, walk them through what each of the 4 reports means, especially the market temperature. That one's really powerful.
Yeah.
Okay, so in addition to the Ticket Into the Living Room, the digital marketing presentation, now we have an appointment set up with a seller. We're physically meeting them in person. So we're going to go an extra step and we're going to create a pre-listing package for them. This is a physical binder. This is taken out of, I think, a Tom Ferry book, but literally we create a binder and there's 5 sections in this binder. There's an introduction that really just welcomes the seller and thanks them for the opportunity to meet with them. Then it talks about the market. The 3rd section is titled Your Home. And this is where the market trends will be in there, a copy of the heat map. A lot of the stuff that you saw in the digital marketing presentation is in here. And it just gives them something physical to touch and look at. There's a CMA that the agent creates and, some other kind of, I just call it filler information, but seller lists on how you can prepare your home for sale, just gives them helpful information. And at the very end, We include a little notepad for them to take notes. And there's a pocket with our listing agreement in here. And what our agents are finding, they are either hand delivering this the day before they're going to meet with the seller, and they say, hey, I'm going to drop this off. You can be expecting it. The agent will call them ahead of time and say, hey, just want to make sure you got this. Any questions? So they know what objections they're going to be walking into. And over 50% of the time, they're sitting at the table and they're actually wet signing the contract. It's crazy.
One other little thing that we've started including, and you guys can do it because you have these tools from Ylopo. Create a list of questions that an educated to-be seller should be asking their agent. Give them a cheat sheet of what to be asking. Once you've scrubbed your database, how many active buyers do you currently have looking for a home just like mine? In today's market environment, what is the average price per square foot? In today's market environment, which way are we leaning? Is it a buyer's market or a seller's market? And what is the temp gauge on that? You are going to stump every single agent that walks through those doors. You have the tools. So send that list of questions in advance to meeting them. You already have the answers.
I know a lot of agents on our team, and this is nothing against them, but it's like instant discouragement. You decided to go on that listing appointment knowing
that we're hiring someone
hey,
else.
I am not giving you this listing. You're just a favor to my neighbor because I don't want her mad at me.
Yep.
But you ended up walking out with the listing. You have to do something different. You have to offer something of value. I'm not saying everybody has to go out and get a binder and send it out, but it makes a huge difference. Don't go in empty-handed. Make sure you're bringing them something of value. You're providing information that's valuable to them. And you're making that connection right away. You're building the rapport before you even walk in the door by sending the marketing presentation digitally and then putting the work in and creating something like this, creating a booklet or coming with a CMA in hand. It's definitely a big no-no on our team for agents to go empty-handed.
Empty-handed. We have a question too. Do we have a runner? We have a question in the back. Sorry, I can barely see. I just see a hand.
It's harder to picture you all naked. Nobody's out there.
Hi, ladies.
Hi.
So my question is, what is the difference in what's in your pre-listing presentation versus your listing presentation when you're with the seller?
So for us, the pre-listing or the digital marketing presentation, rather, that's all electronic. And it's just examples of everything that we're going to do for you when we list your property. The pre-listing package, which is the physical binder, that's actually customized to that seller's home. So they're going to see their tax record information. They're going to see a CMA just for their home. They're going to see the heat map for their property.
So her pre-listing showed a heat map, but it wasn't property specific. It is a link you can create. It can be used multiple times. It's going to talk about the tools you have. It's whetting their appetite to see what, when applied to their property, what the results will be. We do something very similar. So on our site, we have a Y list with us, and it's a flipping book, and it's who we are. But then when we get in front of them, that's when we apply these tools to them. So it's their home, their property, their features.
Yeah, it would be way too hard with the digital marketing presentation to customize it to the seller. It's a teaser, really, is what it is. And a lot of the sellers, they have no idea the difference between, somebody putting a property on the MLS and selling it versus all the other things that we have access to through our Ylopo tools, especially.
Hey, Kat. Ooh,
Yes.
That's loud. Can you show them I know that pre-listing how you sent out? I know on that last page how you guys have set that up for anybody who has teams or multiple agents, how it actually brands that agent as well in that pre-listing. So I thought it was really slick how you guys did that.
Yeah.
I love the way it's
Talking about the agent bio page?
Yeah, the last page.
Okay. And so this is something that our agents actually, they fill out. Just give it a second to load. It's having a hard time. And we give them options. We give them some cheater ideas of what makes a great bio. They can completely customize their own, or they can take what we have pulled from other great bios and make it their own. I can zoom in on. Is this the one you're talking about, Gabe?
Sorry, I'm having mic issues. Yeah, I thought it was just really slick because you guys have that go out and then it has links in there to the website. So whenever the agents are sending this out in the pre-listing packet, it knows which agent's sending it. So it links like back to their Ylopo site and all that, correct?
Yes, yes, exactly. And that's what's great about Flipping Book is that it is completely interactive. You can link it back to your social media. In the digital marketing presentation, we do our company social medias, but then in the agent page, they can click on the contact info and it would go to my search site in this example.
And remember, guys, take this and then put a see homes around me for sale. You can link to your Ylopo site. They're going to log in. It is going to suck them into your Ylopo ecosystem. You're engaging with them before you even walk through the door. So Flipping Book, there are other ones, but Flipping Book, you can click on links and it gives you the ability to suck these people in. They're creating, you've captured mind share and you're creating loyalty without even realizing you're doing it. You're differentiating yourself.
And what I can see, I see there's some glazed over looks out there. And I totally get that because it's taken us the greater part of a whole year to really kind of get our hands dirty and understand the power behind these tools. So we have a big team. But this is something I think that smaller teams could utilize too. We've started nudging our agents. So we use Follow Up Boss as our CRM and Brokerment as our electronic contract writing file. We know when any of our agents actually get a pre-listing. So I'm just going to show you an example of what the nudges are that we send out through Follow Up Boss. So if every day, 8 a.m., we get a report of all the pre-listings that come through. And if I see a pre-listing on there and this agent has not utilized any of the tools or maybe doesn't have their digital marketing presentation completed, we first congratulate them like, hey, congratulations, looks like you have an opportunity to win a listing. Oh, by the way, make sure you send your digital marketing presentation. Here's the link. Make sure you understand how to explain the tools that are in that marketing presentation. Here's a link to the cheat sheet on all of that. Because we teach, I don't know, maybe weekly we hold classes on different tools, but if agents don't attend, they're on the road, they forget about it. So we're constantly having to nudge them on the pre-listing side. Then if we see a listing has come in and it's already active and they didn't use the listing tools, again, we congratulate them. We say something like, hey, we noticed you didn't take advantage of our tools. Make sure you're launching the listing rocket. Here's the link to do that. Make sure you're utilizing the open house tool. Here's the link to do that. So we're giving them, sounds very micromanagey, and it is, but it's necessary for us to get the word out of how important it is to back up our listings with all of these tools.
Hey, Kat, it's Howard in the back. Just wanted to point out that Maverick agrees with you, and nudging is a huge part of the Maverick software release. So completely automated, much less work for the team leader to nudge any single type of lead or action, just automatic nudges. It's going to be lots of actions like nudging, AI, and then if even after all that, then automated lead reassignment to those people that will follow up.
We are very pumped for Maverick. We can't wait for that visibility.
Take a lot off of our plates. Okay, so listing to sold. So you've got the listing now. You use the tools you got in front of them. Now, what do we do to deliver on the promise? What do we do to get paid faster is essentially what we're saying. So reverse lookup. You have the ability to see. Ylopo is going to tell you who to contact, when, and why. For a seller, it's transparency, and they now have a sense of partnership. So again, what do we say? Thrilled to report that we're going to be reaching out directly to all 322 of the prospective buyers to make sure your home is front and center of their minds. We'll be able to see if they view your listing, how many times they've looked at it, and if and when they request more information or a showing. I also like to add, we can also see what else they're looking at, what your competition is. Remember, use these tools. You're building trust with these clients. You want them to know you will deliver on the promise and you have the tools to do it. And Sarah will get into where to find all of this tomorrow. And then the listing rocket, the Diva video ads. If you aren't using these, they are amazing. For a seller, it's exposure and visibility. You're getting your home out there. So what do we say? We're using predictive analytics to get your home in front, says sellers, should say buyers, before they're even aware it's on the market. We run curated ads that feed out to our feeder markets. And I think you guys have heard me use that before too, but feeder markets goes a long way with sellers. To run ads that feed out to our feeder markets and place your home front and center before prospective buyers. This will be showing your home off to current and future buyers. And the best part is all of their engagement is trackable. We make sure we follow them around the internet, reminding them that they need your home. Use these tools. It's a listing rocket we create. Ylopo creates it for us. I
was just going to say the time on this. It takes you all of like 14 seconds, I think. And all the hard work is done, and it's this beautiful ad.
It's huge.
And you're backing up what you told them at the listing appointment. This basically is the answer to the heat map. The reverse lookup is going to pull all those buyers out that we already have in the database. That's before we market it outside. The listing rocket is going to get it in front of not just the people in our database, but also people on Facebook that have identified as, wanting to purchase a home. They're looking to move up. They're looking to move down. We're going to get into a couple more examples of what each of the tools are, but yeah, the listing rocket
amazing.
and the reverse lookup really are just backing up what you told them you're going to do.
And I like to tell people, listen, I'm going to do other realtors' jobs for them. I'm not going to wait for the consumer to be sent your listing and then want to see it. I put it in front of them before they even know they want to see it. And then if you've ever shopped for, let's say, a Pottery Barn duvet, and then you leave and you go to Amazon and there's your Pottery Barn duvet, and then you leave and you go to the news and there's your Pottery Barn duvet. And next thing you know, you're buying it because you've never wanted it so much. That's what we do with houses. I take your gorgeous home, I put it in front of the right people, and I do other realtors' jobs for them by giving you the exposure to get it sold.
All thought-provoking questions too for the seller to think about. Gosh, my last realtor didn't do this, and all the other people that have come through the door didn't mention anything about this. There is a huge difference between just putting the house on the MLS versus having a targeted advertising strategy.
Proactively marketing.
Kat, can I jump in real fast?
Of course.
I also just want to say what I love the most about the listing rocket is not only are you showing them what you're going to do for the marketing, but then you can show them the traction that they're getting by sending them those seller reports that it keeps track of as the ad is running. So you're telling them what you're going to do, and now you're actually proving it to them by showing them the ad and also showing them the interaction you're able to get online with the ads that you're running.
Now, remember too, with the Diva Rockets, you can do a shortened window. If you have a market that is moving, you still want to get that exposure. You're delivering on the promise. Shorten the window. I had a listing in a very, very thriving market that we could not sell. And for the life of me, I couldn't figure out why. So we ran another listing rocket. We shortened the time and we upped the spend, and we had it sold by the end of the week. They work. You're putting the properties in front of the people interested in buying. Your sellers then become raving fans.
And on top of that, you can shorten the window, you can increase the spend, but you can also select the targeted audience.
Yeah.
If it's an area that's 55 and older, or if it's a like retirement community, I forget all of the ones that are listed, but there's a drop down menu that you can choose. Who do I want to target? Luxury, I think, is one of them.
So getting your listing sold. This is an overview of the tools. Sarah's going to deep dive into them. Oh, Kiwi.
Yeah, and tomorrow afternoon, we're going to show you exactly how to do these as well. So we're going to go a little deeper and show you a couple of case studies, some stats and some numbers, and show you how to do them.
Awesome. So this is everything you have right at your fingertips already. If you don't yet know how to use these, find one of us. We'll show you where they are. But don't feel overwhelmed, because Sarah does get into the meat of it, and then Kiwi's doing some great things with the ads. It's the Diva and the listing rockets, correct? Yeah. Okay, so here's a sample we wanted to show you of when we talk about this listing rocket, what it is that is being put out there.
Well, the Wi-Fi is angry at me, but this is an awesome Diva video that won't play. But when you guys get a copy of the presentation. You can take a look at it. Hopefully you all know what the listing rockets are, but if you don't, this is an example of one. And this is something that you can also bring on your listing appointments when you're meeting with the sellers, is to say, hey, this is an ad I ran for my last listing. This is exactly what I'm going to do for you. And then as a response to the listing rocket, kind of what Sarah was touching on, you want to tell them how the ad is performing. So each week, our team will send out the seller report to the agent that owns the listing. And this is a great opportunity for our agents to sit down with their sellers, have a conversation around what's happening, what are the new listings that have come on the market, who's our competition, how is the ad performing. You've got 2 columns here, one that shows actual numbers, one that shows a projection, a forecast over a 30-day period if the ad runs for the full period of time.
And remember, with that, you're setting expectations, but you're also putting the seller in the exact mindset you need them. Because if that listing is overpriced, it's going to be visible. If you're getting the visibility and the traction and the activity, it's a lot easier to say to the seller, we might need to do a price adjustment here because look at the visibility. I mean, we are top of mind. What do you think? Where do you think we should be priced? And let them come back. They're getting this report. They're seeing what you see. And you're not the realtor that puts a sign in the yard and then hides because you're terrified that your property hasn't sold, right? That happens more often than not. Or the realtor that takes the price and then knows they have to reduce it and they don't know how to make that call. You're giving them the data that allows them to understand as a partner why we're making this decision.
It definitely takes the pressure off of the agent too, because like Livia said, this is the data. It's not me. I don't make the market. It's going to show them, like I said, the new listings that hit the market. And then below that, I'm afraid because I messed up the presentation already, but below that line, it will show the just sold properties. And we want to make sure our agents know how to explain it. And it's complicated. Like, it's great information, but it's only as good as your ability to explain it. So we've taken an example of a seller report and we've literally made bubbles for our agents to follow of like, what does each line mean? Super obnoxious to look at, but great in a training opportunity. If you're working with your agents, you're working with your team, this is something that we thought was necessary because our agents weren't using the seller report. Now they know it, they understand it, and they look forward to it every week. They know every Friday it's coming out. And if we forget to send it, they definitely are reaching out like, where's my report?
Okay, so then the open house sign-in. If you're not using well, 2 things. 1, I feel every agent should be hosting open houses right now. If you think about it, it's not just to sell the house. It is to get those sellers that are thinking of selling who are secretly interviewing agents to see what you have at your disposal. So this open house tool is insane to use. You want to use it. You want to have it out there. You want to be ready to go with this because more often than not, the neighbor that's coming through is curious why neighbor A is able to list their home for so much. What does that mean their home is worth? And why did neighbor A select this agent? I know my cousin's cousin who's a realtor. What makes this agent different? This makes you stand out from the crowd. Now, what does it provide a seller? Trackable data and feedback. And tell them that I use this tool so that I can provide you trackable data and direct feedback right after. And Bruce and Bernadette and I have had a lot of fun going back and forth with how to get that trackable data. We've had a blast sending each other videos of what we're using to try to get feedback from these clients. Now, what do we say? I'm pleased to confirm we're going to be using our open house app to track all visitors to your property today. This amazing tool allows us to follow the potential buyers after they visited your home to gain feedback, keep them abreast of all offer deadlines, but also to track how many times they've looked at your house and what other homes they're looking at. It's incredible. 2 reasons. You're negotiating an offer. These people have come into your house. They signed in. You can see what other homes they're looking at. It's giving you as an agent some insight into their budget. The other thing that you're getting is you're able to say to the seller, listen, they made an offer, but I see they've looked at 123 Main Street 5 times since we've been delaying responding. There's a backup plan. You have the inside track that the co-broke is not telling you, rightfully so, and you're gaining it from this open house app.
And just as a reminder, I'm going to show you guys it's your branded site /tools. Takes you, all the tools are in one spot, easy to access. And this is where you would go to access the open house link. This one is much shorter than the listing rocket. I think it's like 2 seconds to create. It's MLS number and name. And then we'll show you an example of what the open house page looks like.
Okay, so additional tools. I'm going to let you run with this, Kat, because
Sure. So reverse lookup. Are you guys, anybody in here using reverse lookup? I'm just genuinely curious. I see 1, 2, like less than 5 hands for sure. This was a really underutilized tool for us as well. Maybe the video will play, but this is going to show you how fast it is to pull a reverse lookup. This is admin level access, so if you're not an admin, you won't be able to do it. For our team, we've created a type form where an agent can fill out a request. It's literally entering in the property address, a price range that you figure is like, I don't know, 50 to 100,000 range, bed and bath count, and square footage. What this does is it's going to pull out the people in the database that are looking for a home similar in the same area. What we do is we share this list with the agent that has the listing. We also automatically on their behalf will send out a batch email that has a copy of the listing rocket ad, like the Diva ad that you can download, and send a push listing. So we're trying to put that, it's just another way for you to put the property in front of potential buyers.
I think we just have to go back.
Yeah, sorry about that. So reverse lookup we use on every single listing rocket that we launch. All these tools are kind of interchangeable. You want to make sure you're using all of them and just getting the most bang for your buck.
Yeah, so reverse lookup is your cheat sheet. Who do I contact? Why do I contact them? What am I telling them? That's for the agent. You're going to use that to tag those people in your database and send this property. You're delivering on your promise. You're sending it out to the people in your database looking for what you have.
And if you haven't run the listing rocket or it's not in the budget, you can, for free, send a push listing of the property. And then we're going to move on to what a listing landing page looks like. Again, you guys, these are less than 5 seconds to create. You go to your tools page and put in the MLS number, make sure your agent's name is in the drop down. And very beautifully, you have a listing landing page that automatically pulls the photos over from the MLS. Another great opportunity to make sure your agents are using professional photos. All the info, the public remarks are in there, and additional gallery of photos below. But this is super quick and easy. And then there's even a schedule a showing type form that they can fill out to request a showing.
Yes, we have a question here. Up here. So one other thing while we're waiting for the mic, this is just me think tanking, but think about this listing landing page, right? So you have this listing landing page. It takes you 2 seconds. You have the listing. You also know who in your database to send this listing to. What's more powerful than creating an email template with a video of you saying, I wanted to give you a heads up on this new listing that has just hit the market or is soon to hit the market. I feel like it fits your criteria and is exactly what you're looking for. And you link to this. You're sucking them back into your ecosystem and you're providing them value.
Quick question. How do you download the reverse lookup into Follow Up Boss and then send the video out? And also, how do you dial them?
So,
okay, you go first.
So we take that CSV file and you're going to re-import it and you're just going to add a tag. So you're going to add the tag, let's say it's 123 Main Street. You're adding the tag. You're not replacing the information on the contact, you're adding to the contact. And so now those people that are already in your database, they now just have the tag applied. And then we do a search by that tag, and then you can batch email a video, the listing landing page, or anything else the Listing Rocket video.
And so for us, we actually give the agent access. We give them the CSV file, and we only pull out like first name, last name, email address, and phone number. Gives them a list to dial. We don't want to automatically assign. It could be hundreds of people that show up on the reverse lookup. So we give them access to the people, kind of the old school way. We give them the CSV file, and then we actually move them to a pond. Speaking of ponds earlier, we move them to a special pond where they're then, we set them up on a special campaign that's just keeps targeting them for this specific property. Once they engage, then it's assigned over to the listing agent.
Now, for our agents too, because if you're running a team, you might have people in your database that are assigned to other agents. So we like to do it as a template so it can be sent by that agent. So they can customize. If this is someone they know really well, they're not going to want a generic email going out. They might want to send a specific video to that person. So it's use specific, but this is a phenomenal way to deliver on the promise you made the seller and get the home sold a lot faster. These people really are looking for exactly what you have.
It's one more thing for you to show the seller too, like, oh, by the way, I made you a landing page for your property. Here it is. It's really impressive, everything that we can bring back to them and show why it is that you went with us to begin with. The listing flyer, very similar to the listing landing page, but this is just for agents that maybe are holding the open house, or they want to, pass out flyers. You can print these. It was loading so well. So well. This is gonna I was freezing before. Now I'm like, my temperature is about 100 degrees. I'm borderline panicking up here. Really awesome flyer.
It is. If you haven't used it, branded site /tools. It's the flyer. You can print this up. It's a PDF. You can hand it out at your open house.
It's coming.
Oh, here we go.
Thanks.
It was just
So magical.
We just needed your energy.
I'm magic.
Again, this is going to pull over from the MLS, the photos, professional photos. What's also great about this is you can, if you are branding with, co-branding with a lender, when you're setting up in the tools section, you can choose to add your lender in. You can also customize it a little bit, like up in the top left here, you see it says amazing views. You can change that verbiage. It gives you kind of free reign. You can put whatever you want there, or you can just leave the stock options. And I think it says like new listing or new home or something like that.
So the website, the landing page looks like a website for this property. This looks more like a PDF flyer. So you could use this to be attached to those emails we're sending out. You could use this post open house to be attached. Thank you for coming through 123 Main Street. Here's the additional property information I promised you. Would love some feedback on what you thought of the property.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And it's so easy. And then open house tool. Livia already covered quite a bit of that. What I like about the open house tool, other than everything that she's already covered, is the fact that if I have new agents that have come on the team and they don't have any buyers they're working with, they don't have any sellers, but I have really busy listing agents, that agent can go and host an open house. They don't have to be the owner of the listing to create or to use the open house tool. They can go in with permission from the listing agent, add their name in the drop-down menu, and they're going to get this beautiful QR code flyer. It's going to load in just a second, but it gives you the opportunity. You can use the QR code. So if you're having people sign in on your phone, on a tablet, on your computer, they can scan that, or you can print it out and then they can just scan the QR code once they go in the door. And what's awesome is that agent, if they're holding the open house for your listing agent, they're then going to have all these buyer opportunities that have come through the door. Once the lead scans the QR code, they're then automatically added into Follow Up Boss as a lead. They have the priority alert. They're tagged with the open house tag. And then I think they're added to Remarketing. They get a copy of the property information. I mean, it's like a little mini assistant. It does all the hard work for you.
Typing in their info. They don't like writing their info. They like typing in their info. And fulfill the promise too. Whatever you tell them, I like to whet their appetite. we are asking, the seller's asking everyone that comes through to sign in. But when you sign in, you are going to receive all this information on this property, but also on other open houses going on today in the immediate vicinity. Include a link to other open houses. You're sucking them into your ecosystem, remember, but use it as a way for the seller. Seller's requesting, but I am going to deliver, and you will have access to all of this. Barry?
Yeah. So when you sit down with the seller, you're obviously excited about all these tools. How do you, when you're about to go over the technology that sets you and your agents apart, are there any like phrases maybe or ways that you start to talk about the technology you have? How do you teach your seller versus just geeking out over the tools, right? Because that's what we do. And then we wonder like, man, why didn't they pick me? Like, how do you make this about them? Are there any phrases you use, or is the way you preface it or anything like that?
Yeah.
Phrases.
Well, I'll say I like to say, I'm all about transparency. I'm going to lift the smoke and mirrors, and I'm going to show you what we use and why we use it.
Okay, hold on. Before you keep going, you need to write that down. I'm going to lift the smoke and mirrors.
I'm all about transparency.
I'm all about transparency. And I'm going to
explain to you what we use and why we use it and how it benefits you. It's important that you let them know that, because realistically, we are lifting the smoke and mirrors. We are lifting the veil of secrecy. It's no longer you have to hire a realtor and then you hope they're doing what they say, but you never know what they're doing because they only call you once every 6 months. You want this to be lift that, be transparent. Once you explain why you're using it and simplify it, I put some of the phrases of what we say, our catchphrases when we're with sellers, but explain to them how this benefits them. It doesn't matter to them that we're using this login unless they understand it's so that they know who's come through the home, that we have trackable data on these people. We can see what the competition to their home is that they're looking at. And we're able to follow up with these buyers, potential buyers, to obtain feedback on your property. And best case scenario, we also have all the contact info. So when offers start coming in and we have an offer deadline, every potential buyer interested in buying your home is notified of that deadline.
Yeah, so that's a really interesting point because I think my favorite moniker that agents have is the #1 agent on social media. You guys seen that one? And I don't know what that means, but anyway. And so we're all trying to set ourselves apart. But I think what Livia just said is really interesting because these tools are amazing in their own right. But I don't imagine a seller would be like, oh my gosh, this open house tool is so sexy. I want you to list my house, right? But what Livia just said that's so key is that she's making it about the seller. And I think that because I just was listening and I think that's something that we all need to think about is when we're sitting down with these tools, going over them in a way that makes sense to the seller. It's just compelling. So thank you.
Yeah.
And I think obviously it's important to educate the seller, but you also have to make sure you yourself as the agent know these tools inside and out. You can have the most beautiful digital marketing presentation, send out an awesome binder with all of the information on their home, but you have to be able to explain why it's going to be so valuable to them and how it's going to get their house sold at top dollar on their timeline and all of those important things that these tools help us achieve.
So Patrick has a question. One other thing while she's running the mic, think about all these tools we're showing you and how individually you could try to incorporate one of these things, but you're not sucking them into your ecosystem. So you might suck them into a list, but then you have to apply it over here, apply it over there, apply it over there. What Ylopo is giving you is a seamless integration where they can all work together. And when they're working together, it's magic.
Yeah, I've got a quick question. So a lot of great stuff. The flipping book, you got the pre-listing package, you're sending stuff out at different times. I was a little confused when you don't send out this flipping book originally, right? You send out the pre-listing package, then the flipping book, you show up and show that to them.
So think email template here,
Yeah.
because what you're going to do is take that flipping book, the pre-listing, and Kat will explain how they do it. But the way we do it, we take that flipping book and that goes out as an email template when we get a listing appointment. In preparation for our meeting, I wanted to send you a little bit of information so you can formulate your questions prior to meeting me. I also like to include that list of valuable questions a seller should be asking their agent. Remember, things that you know.
So it's after you get the appointment is when you're sending that, right?
I mean, if you're prospecting sellers, you can do some of this, but this is getting in front of the ticket into the living room. You know these people are considering selling. Prepare them with this.
We like to be a little loose with the flipping book, the digital marketing presentation, the email template. There's 1,000 different things you can call it. Like I said, our agents are putting it in their email signature because you don't really know. There's a lot of sellers that are disguised as buyers. So I think for us, we put it in a lot of different places. So it's before we have the listing appointment, we're sending that out. Just when we have a taste of knowing that they potentially could be selling, they're getting a copy of this. Then once they've had a chance to kind of review it, they're going to have a lot of questions. That's when we send out the pre-listing package, the actual book.
And if you go to our website, Realty Group Cape Cod, you'll see under sellers, why list with us? We put that flipping book right on our site. I want potential sellers that are checking out properties to see it. But remember, this is ticket into the living room. Bring value prior to meeting with them.
Okay. And what is a duvet?
Duvet.
Well, you said it
I'm
out
just
loud,
kidding,
so
yeah,
it'll follow you for the rest of the week for sure. Just open Amazon, it will show you.
Yeah. Once you open Amazon, now you're going to have all duvets in your feet because you just said it.
It's a blanket that's really hard once you wash the cover
To get
to
back
get it
on.
back on. It's really like, it will make you go postal.
There's whole TikToks on how to do it. The cover is a duvet, a huge pillowcase for your comforter. All right.
Oh. Okay, so I think we showed an example of all the tools.
Yep. Okay,
Post-listing.
so now post listing. You've got the home, you've got it sold. Now what do? Because I think one of the other things that we forget is we go through this process and then the deal is done. So remember, these tools continue to keep this relationship going for life with these people. You're capturing mind share and you don't want to give that up. So if you have the buyer's email that bought your listing, offer them this tool. If you have the sellers moving to another location, offer them this tool. Sarah likes to call it a homeowner report. Barry uses an equity report. It's a way to remind these people that you know what you're doing. And this relationship continues well beyond the end of the transaction. So set them up for this. You can choose to do it. It's a seller report, and Sarah will go over this as well. Weekly, bi-weekly, quarterly, or annually. We like to do the quarterly for people that have bought a home. They just got in. We want it to not feel overwhelming.
We do the same thing. So we set them up once they've closed on the quarterly report. And, we just let them know this is a really awesome tool for you to watch how your equity grows.
Yep. And again, see that temp gauge that I'm obsessed with, seller's market, buyer's market. It tells them that. It's giving them a way to understand the data and helping them understand. Because if these people down the line are thinking of selling and you send them something that shows seller's report, you've just got another opportunity dropped into your lap.
I have a question. How does your organization handle when a seller, either a lead or a past client, emails you and says the value's off? How do you view, is that something you view as an opportunity? Do you shut HomeBot and seller alerts off as a result of that? Like, how do you guys view that?
I'm excited when they reach out because it's an opportunity for a conversation. So I say, yes, I found that. Please understand, this is based on hard data. This is not property specific in terms of the upgrades you've done, the neighboring properties. In my location, it's all about water. So this doesn't take into account proximity to water. We find the values tend to run a little low, but I would love the opportunity to correct that for you. When is a good time for me to come out and see all the updates you did?
That's so good. So you got to let go to grow. And so, but I value the conversation. I was curious to see if you guys, Kat, I'm sure you guys.
Oh, yeah. We actually we have licensed ISAs that help kind of manage our ponds, and constantly we've got HomeBot engaged tags that are going, and we get a lot of sellers that will respond back like, this is really low, like what's going on. So they have a couple of script opportunities to go into. Actually, Barry, I think we took them from your HomeBot, one of your classes that you taught. But it's exact same thing. Like, we do go into a little bit saying this is Black Knight technology, but again, it is still just a computer. There's nothing better than having a local expert come out, visit your home, go over the upgrades, and then you can come up with a price together. And then we can actually tune your value. We can do that right there on the spot if it's necessary, because some sellers are really, they might be very passionate about wanting to see that price go up, but it's another easy way to get your foot through the door or your agent's foot through the door.
So they didn't know I was going to ask them that question, but what I find really significant is I think that when teams scale their business, they've got to view every response and every interaction as an opportunity. And that's exactly what you guys said. And so that should liberate some of you that are afraid of, well, what if it's wrong? Or what if they don't like it? It's all an opportunity. The conversation is the win. So thank you for sharing that.
Use it to your benefit. It's not going to hurt. The other thing, if you have a little hack, if you have not seen these reports, set yourself up in your database and turn on the seller report for you. You will see what it feels like to get this. You'll understand what they're seeing. It's a lot easier to explain it when you know it.
And it's not just a Zestimate. They're not just seeing a value. I mean, yes, that is what's at the top of the screen with HomeBot, but it goes into so much more. It talks about market conditions. It talks about potential for different financing. Like, should you pull money out? Could you become an Airbnb owner? Do you want to invest? Do you want to trade up your home? So there are a ton of different tools in there. There's a calculator that they can go on and see if they pay an extra $10 a month, how that's going to look over the life of their loan. So it's really a very powerful tool that we underutilized for a long time. And once we started using it, we got a lot of appointments out of it. A lot of conversations started. That led to a lot of appointments.
These 3 QR codes too, if you haven't taken a picture of them, please do. This is amazing that Kat is giving all this info. This is what they use in-house. This is the tools they use with their agents. And she's made it available to everyone.
Yeah, so not all of the links will work for you guys because they're tied back to our page, but just to give you an idea of how you can kind of lay things out, like just like with the sellers, you have to tell them over and over again what the tools are that you have. You have to do the same thing with your agents and with yourself if you're a solo agent. So I like to use Google Documents because Ylopo's always adding more tools. I'm always having to go in and add. And as soon as I get something new, I add it to the list, and everybody that has the bookmark document gets the update. So we cover what's going to help you win the listings. Let's go over the heat map, a couple other things. And then now that you've won the listing, what are the next steps that you should be taking? Do that reverse lookup, get the listing rocket launched. And then the listing toolkit resource document is just, it's everything. It's all of our listing tools. We have an entire course that we've created that agents have to take if they want to do listings, because there's that much material, there's that much information that they need to understand. So that's just kind of like a cheat sheet for them. And when they're on the road, they can easily access it.
So that is us, you guys. We're at the top of the hour. Make sure you use these. Thank you, Kat, for sharing these. It's amazing tools.
Yes. All right. So, and just to add some context to that, thank you both. Amazing. When Kat and her team are giving up all these resources, again, when I was there about a month ago, I don't know if you remember the numbers, but it's about noon, and they were doing an update to their team. And these are resources that, as of that day, do you remember how many pending, or you probably on a daily average, what do you guys have pending? A lot. Yeah. It was over 600. It was like 600 that day. So these are tools that they're using, and this is not just from an organization, but down to the individual agents that are coming on too, and they're building them and putting them in.
Could you say that again? How many deals?
We hit 700 in March.
Like pending that day. So I walked in.
How many do you have pending right now, do you think?
7 and change.
7.
Like actively pending. 700.
700?
So the day was 642. It was noon. And I think 30 to
that's
40
Yeah.
had gone pending that day. My point in that is what I want to make sure it's not like, oh my gosh, but they're massive and all this. The way, if you look into those resources when they're loading, they've built them in a way, it's not just the team members almost as individuals coming in. And I was chatting with people coming in onto the Robert Slack team that still operate quasi-independent that are using these. So use those tools. They literally created this and saying, go rip off and duplicate it.